Hi, I'm Reabetswe Molapo. I'm a speaker, entrepreneur, facilitator, and enthusiast.
Welcome to my biggest practice. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
You were at university,
Yes.
at the dorm room.
Yes. Wow. So I was at the University of Cape Town. Those who know. So people that know, it's one of those sought after institutions that you kind of want to have under your name. But yeah, so I'm in a dorm room I forgot the name of the res. I don't think it was Leesbeek Gardens. I think it was Forest Hill. So I'm in Forest Hill during a time where it was the sub exams at the beginning of the year. So I had come back a little bit earlier to write my Economics 201 paper. I think it was micro. And it was a sub. And it was literally the pinnacle of whether I was going to make it or not. If I passed this, then I would have stayed. If I didn't pass it, then it's toodles to me. And so I'm sitting there waiting for my results to get back. And the Stani comes in, knocking. Go. Reabetswe. I'm looking for Reabetswe. I keep quiet. I'm like, do I act like there's nobody here or what? I keep quiet for like a good 5 minutes. She keeps knocking. And I'm sharing the flat with another girl in a different room. Her door was also locked. So I think it was one of those flatlets where it had 3 rooms or 2 rooms sharing a kitchen and a bathroom. And so she goes, opens the door, and the Dani says to her, I'm looking for Reabetswe. And she's like, oh, okay. And we don't know each other. We're strangers. We just met each other for that specific time. She opens the door, and she's like, there's a lady waiting for you. And this lady says to me, pack your bags and leave. And I'm like, no, I'm here, I'm subbing, I'm waiting for my result. She's like, sweetheart, you are in financial arrears. Please make sure that you pack your bags right now and leave. And so I had no plan. I'm in Cape Town. I'm from Limpopo here, and had no plan, no backup. It's early in the year. Most of my friends are not even there yet, even the ones that have flats. So there's no one that I can talk to and to say, hi guys, can I just, crash on your couch? But luckily I had a cousin who was studying in a different institution. He was studying fashion at Cape Tech. I called him, I think he was in class, and I'm like, brah, Kshubi, can you please just come through and see either come help me pack my bags and we find a way where can I crash it, I don't know, at your place or at your res or whatever. And he's like, you can't crash at my res, but I can talk to one of my female friends if you can, stay at her place. And yeah, he comes through within an hour, helps me pack my bag. We get an Uber. Then I think there weren't Ubers. I think it was meter taxis. And we go to his friend's place, and I'm there waiting for my results. When I wait for a good week for the results, and I get a call, or I see, on the Vula account or whatever, that you've been academically excluded. So there I was, this individual, both just kicked out of the UCT system like kafulad, we don't want you here. And I find myself in an emotional, black hole. Because here I am, this girl who I felt was a smart person when I left high school, was one of those top students, was able to get into UCT, quite hard institution to get into. And then by second year, that same institution that I had put pride in doesn't want me in it. And so my sense of identity was now questioned. My worth, because I had valued myself just as that person, is also questioned. And yeah, it's just not that exclusion. It's just my internal existential crisis there. I think that was the first time I had an existential crisis, apart from a couple of weeks ago when I was busy with my MBA exams. But nonetheless, that was, what was happening at that time. And now I need to call my mother to let her know what's happening in life. I call mom, hi ma, so I got got kicked out of race. And I just found out that I'm no longer a UCT student. So can you quickly book a flight for me to come back home? I don't know what my plan is, but can I come home? Frantic as she was actually calm, and she was able to calm me down and like, okay, cool, we'll figure it out when you get home. So mommy books the flight, and then also books my bus to go back to Limpopo, and there I was, a girl without a plan. And yet I'm normally the person who's like, in life you must have plan A, B, C, so that if something doesn't work out, you know what's next, strategize. But I didn't have any plan, I didn't have any sense of worth. And I had put my entire value and existence on a degree, on a CASA, what do you call it? Yeah, qualification at the back of my name, because in my entire, well, from grade 10, all of my friends knew Reabetswe Molapo, CASA. So that was like, you know, for good 2 years I was prophesying myself to be the CA that I never became. And so the question was, do I then, even back trying to figure out who am I about, what am I about, trying to figure out, do I continue with this degree? Do I still want to be a chartered accountant? What do I want to do? So I spent a whole 6 months practically doing nothing, engaging in nothing academically, doing sort of like a soul-searching exercise. I just remember this one week, and by the way, when I came back from home, I was a round individual. So I had 3 chins. People who know what freshers bread is know what that is. So I was this blob of an individual, getting back home. So I feel depressed about just the way I look, who I am. And we didn't live that far from Peter Mugaba. So I wake up this one morning, have this epiphany that I should be waking up and either starting to walk or run. And I then, and the funny part is I came back home at the beginning of the year. So I'm a church girl, and one of the things that would happen at the beginning of the year at our church was we'd have a fast, Daniel's fast specifically. So I came back to that, and I continued that for a good 6 months. My hope for that was to cleanse my system, but to also kind of like be a part of the soul searching journey. So to cleanse the palate, eat veggies all the way. The only thing that I changed was I think I just added the fish. So I was more pretty much of a pescatarian for a good 6 months, but made sure that each and every morning and late in the evening or later in the afternoon, I would run or walk. So that was my time where I would meditate, just trying to figure life out. And I got this epiphany that, well, chances are what happened to you has happened to other people or could happen to other people. And that was when I was like, well, what would have happened if I had an intervention previously, whether it is from a point of figuring out whatever career, because I was vague in that area. I chose that degree that I chose only because, I don't know, I wanted money. And there was some lady who came at school who told us that the CA degree brings a lot of money apart from what you call it,
Prestige.
Yeah, it's like a prestigious thing. And so I knew I could not do actuarial. I'm not that much of a numbers person. And so the next best thing was the CA thing. And I knew I could not do medicine. I knew I could not do anything in health or engineering. And that was one of the reasons. I didn't choose it because it fitted well with my personality or my persona or my passion or my abilities or my talents. I literally just chose it because it was a means to an end. And because somebody came in school to say that if you want money, this is the way to go. So I felt that if I had intervention or some sort of like mentor or person that could gauge with me what it's like in university in the first place, what happens there, that life school, academic balance, how do you fix that? Because one of the things that I noticed with myself was I was engaged in a whole lot of societal engagements. So Black Management Forum, I was like in the leadership structure. At Res, I was, in the house comm leadership structure. At UCT Radio, I was there busy producing entrepreneurial talk shows, leadership talk shows, which is weird how now it's kind of like full circle-ish in terms of the content that I prefer to speak about, to do, to engage in. But those were all part of who I am today. but I do feel that, and that's why I strongly believe in mentorship, and that's where my organization Young Is came about. I was like, okay, what could I do to kind of bridge the gap, to tell them, hey guys, corner this thing, university is like this. You know, when you choose your career, choose it based on your abilities, choose it based on your passion, not just based on what it can do for you. Though there are certain elements, and you know, my views change a little bit, but still focus on, you know, what you're passionate about and find a way of monetizing that. And that plays a big role in why I love entrepreneurship as well. But nonetheless, and that's, you know, where my organization came through. And essentially what happened was I went back to my high school, had a meeting with our principal back then, and I asked him, meneer, kan ek asseblief net met die matrieks praat? And he's like, sure, actually you can have the whole school. You can come through at assembly, speak to the students about your experience. And actually remember one of the guys in the audience, he's actually a mentee of mine now, doing brilliant things within the media space. And he literally came back to me, I think after I'd spoken 2 years later, to say, Ria, by the way, that talk that you had at school, it helped me pivot to what I'm doing now. And that was when I was like, eureka moment, this is what I've been called to do. And so I feel what I do is more of a calling than just a career. So yeah, from my high school, I then started engaging it with other, you know, high schools in the surrounding townships, Kopolokwane, as well as the villages in the surrounding areas. And it later on got to a point where I would then partner with like the local municipalities, Polokwane municipality, Capricorn district municipality, and even some projects with like the Premier's office, NYDA here and there. But yeah, it was engaging on, you know, developing the community. So it was more outreach programs and projects. And it was later on, I was like, actually, I think I'm onto something here. And then decided to kind of like formalize it. But even in the formalization, I could still feel and sense that I wasn't running it from a business mindset perspective. But also, I realized that it wasn't really as structured as I wish it could be, but also the audience that I was speaking to was growing. It wasn't just high school people anymore. It's now, you know, college students, TUT, University of Limpopo types of youth, and they have a different, in the position that they're in, they have a different view of what they want to achieve in life.
So you started speaking to university students next?
Yeah. So in that, I felt like, in as much as there is a point of connection, there is a little bit of a disconnect, because I'm talking to university students while I have a non-existential half-degree thing going on. So what exactly was I motivating them to do or to be? So I felt that I myself needed to then reground and find that point of authority, as one would call it, from an academic perspective, to even understand, yes, I understand the varsity college experience, but now I need academic grounding. I need to actually fully understand what I'm speaking about, but not only from a speaking perspective, but even from me. I'm running an organization, but I'm not running it from a business, you know, running it as a full-on entity. And so that was when I shopped around for a couple of institutions. Also, I think it was my mom who popped that idea to say, okay, Manaka, you can't just be going on without any degree, considering your level of whatever, intellect, if you can call it as such. So get on it. And even before I actually registered with the institution that I am with now, I did start from scratch with UNISA, actually, funny enough. I started from scratch with UNISA because of the academic exclusion and the financial exclusion. I couldn't get hold of my transcript, right? So you can't even get that 50%, what do they call it?
Accreditation?
Exemption. Yeah, that exemption to say, at least, yes, that's halfway, you know. So I literally started from scratch with UNISA. And I think I was on the 3rd level of most of my courses. MENEC was mimicking me. Management accounting was mimicking me. And I think that was literally where I got to the ceiling. I was like, this thing is not for me, Joe. I can see this financial management accounting, what is happening here? And it was just flames for days. And it made me question, like, am I not like, it still made me question my value, made me question my intellect. And I was like, but guys, I'm actually like, I love business content, not necessarily accounting context. I do see the means to an end with the numbers and understanding financial statements, and I see where it plays a role in my life now, but I'm just saying that from a career perspective. And that was when I shopped around at certain institutions, and one that stood out for me was Henley. Somebody recommended it to me, and I tried to apply for the postgrad and was like, you have a half degree, my darling, you won't qualify. Even if they do like RPL, you won't qualify. So I had to, and I was told about the long queue that was there for just applying. And I was like, okay, in the meantime, I can't waste any more time. And I just registered their advanced certificate in management practice. And to be honest with you, that was when my mind shifted. I think I kind of felt value because I'm in a classroom. At that time, I was like one of the youngest people in the class. I think then they hadn't even had youngish people. It was a new concept of having young individuals in the classroom, but feeling respected by people who are in corporate, who are in management, just by engaging with them, that they actually listen to what you have to say, that it's actually of value, whatever topic that we were speaking about, whatever course or module that we were busy with. And that built up that sense of confidence that I'd lost 10 years prior. And that then really helped for me to be the person that I am today. I generally don't take nonsense right now. Because of that, I don't take nonsense right now.
So what are you studying now? So you did the certificate?
Sure, I did a certificate, and then I was able to, via recognition of prior learning, get into the postgrad. Right now I'm busy doing my MBA. I'm halfway through it. I'm even busy with the next one, considering, but I'm just, busy with the MBA right now. And I feel like it's a bit of a full circle of this. I feel at home in this space with this kind of content. It helps me with some of the consulting work that I do, with some of the SMEs and the startups that I'm able to advise and work with and consult with. So I feel like I'm me, I'm myself. I feel confident in I felt stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like a dumb cop after that exclusion, and it took me a whole close to 10 years to recover, just to feel like, okay, there's a space for you, Reabetswe, in this world. Even though from an outside perspective, I still looked like I was performing. So people would see me doing things, going to the villages and being engaging, but internally, I just didn't feel like anything. I felt like, one more like Blunder really.
Okay.
So yeah.
What lessons would you want to share?
Look, the key lessons would be never to put your own, your value on things. Like never to put your value on a title or an institution or whatever you're working on. You as an individual are the value. And another, lesson is the importance of mentors, man. I think I value just external advice. Whether I do take it, sometimes I don't. But just having an ability to have someone or some people that you are able to speak to in spaces that you would like to enter into. Because they're able to bring in a dimension of, I've been through this, and this is the best way of approaching it. Whether it is from a point of, that's why I would mentor younger people than me. I haven't made it, but I see the value of, even if you haven't made it, there's certain wisdom that you've gained from the life experience that you're living, and that person will value it. And just not undervaluing yourself, man, undermining yourself, actually. Right now, the mind space that I'm in is I feel like I can tap into a lot of things that I previously wouldn't have. I'm able to engage with people at a level that previously I wouldn't have, just based from a value perspective.
Give us an example.
I can talk to you. I can engage with you. I think if you'd met me 5 years ago, not 5, but maybe earlier, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to because I feel intimidated.
Okay.
But yeah, I at this point I can stand my ground on certain things and sometimes have a certain level of liver that you kind of do need in an entrepreneurship. If you're a risk-averse individual like I am, you're able to take the losses and still move on to the next thing. And that's something that That's like, you take the losses, you take the blunder, you're like, okay, sharp, let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last word.
Wow. My last word to any young person, or any individual at that, is, these people like to say, believe in yourself. But I do believe in the higher self. So I believe in God. And so for me I truly believe that had it not been for that kind of conversation that I had with him during my runs to Pitomkaba Stadium, my meditations and prayers, I wouldn't have figured out who I am, what I'm about, and be solidly firm about that. Because I don't think I've shifted from the core of what I believe that I've been created for. Those conversations with God help me have a relook at myself, what I'm able to bring to the table in any table setting, but also the constant feeling of, I feel like life is a lesson. So you're constantly learning. You don't know everything. I'm busy studying master in business administration. Yeah, so next, we don't know nothing, and just being willing to absorb anything from anyone. And it's not just wanting to absorb from people in high executive. It's literally being able to absorb even from a security person, even from a receptionist, and just being an individual who sees people as stories, that add on to your story, but also people that help guide and shape who you are as an individual. And that, we're not isolated. I had to meet my, heroes in the middle of my journey, these people who pivoted my thoughts or views on certain things, and that we're not islands, we're humans, we're interconnected, we're droplets in an ocean, and without the mini droplets, we wouldn't be, a collective. So understanding that and looking at that also just from an entrepreneurial perspective, you can't do things by yourself. So yeah.